Hey everybody, Betty here at the Geode. Thank you for joining in. I hope you're doing well. I'm here today to show you a little bit about some yoga foundations and work through a beginner sequence. So this is going to be a really good flow if you're new to yoga, or maybe you're coming back to your mat after a little bit of a stint, or maybe you have yoga experience and just want to explore some of the foundations and maybe feel the postures in a new or different way. So I invite you all to join me here in an easy seat, cross-legged seat, and we're going to start with a little bit of breath work and start to check in. Maybe if you have a block, you might want to put that underneath you just to help kind of lengthen the spine. Maybe you want to put a blanket back behind you. However you feel comfortable, I invite you to do that. So we're going to check in here. Maybe the eyes softly close. We're going to find our equal breath. And equal breath is very simple and something that you can use anytime, not just when you're practicing yoga. Equal breath is what it sounds like. The inhale and the exhale are equal. An easy way to tap into this is to just start counting. So let's explore this together. Maybe the eyes fall closed. Let's start with the inhale. Let's just check in and breathe normal. And just observing and noticing the breath. On the next inhale, let's begin to count. So as we inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. This may take a little bit of time. You'll get it. Let's try this again. Let's inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. This time, let's lengthen the time a little bit. Let's maybe count to 6. Sitting up tall, inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do this one more time, remembering to fill our lungs up on the inhale and letting it go slowly on the exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause and exhale out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this equal breath is very soothing to our sympathetic nervous system. It eases anxiety, eases stress. Very good tool to tap into when you're feeling stressed, or maybe you just want to start the day with some breath work, which is something I definitely recommend. We're going to begin here in our beginner sequence, but I do want to go over one more type of breath work. And maybe you've heard of this breath work. It's called the Ujjayi breath, or the victorious breath. Let's explore that a little bit. When you do the Ujjayi breath, I want you to imagine you're fogging a window with the exhale. So let's start with our mouth open, actually. So let's inhale. Exhale, fog up the mirror. Let's do that again, but let's keep our mouth closed, and the inhale and the exhale will come through the nose. So still imagining that you're fogging up that mirror with the breath coming out of the nose. Inhale. Exhale. almost like the sound of an ocean or an oceanic breath, almost like a hum. Let's try that again. Let's do our Ujjayi breathing. Inhale. Exhale through the nose. Good. So as you begin to explore yoga and working through sequencing, the Ujjayi breath is a wonderful breath to tap into as you're holding poses. It will guide you, it will serve you. So that's something to play around with as well too. So let's begin our flow, remembering our breath work. If you take one thing away from this sequence today, remember how important the breath is. It's always there. We can always tap back into it. And really such an integral part of yoga is the breath. So let's start out on our backs. And we're just going to start with some stretching, opening up a little bit. And we're going to move the flesh away from our sits bones. And just lie on the mat, feeling the mat beneath you, feeling the floor beneath the mat, the earth beneath the floor. Just feeling really rooted and grounded. Tapping into the breath. Checking in with ourselves. Let's bring that right knee into our chest. The left leg is going to remain down, straight to the mat. The foot's going to be flexed. Working that psoas muscle in the right leg. Let's extend that right leg up. This is a great place also if you have a strap or a scarf or a belt to hook that around the foot just to help ease that stretch a little bit. If this is too much, just bend the knee. If your leg is extended straight, join me in some foot circles. Just gonna circle around here at the ankle joint, switching directions. Bringing that knee back in. And exhaling that leg back down. Let's do the other side. We'll bring the left knee into the chest. Keeping the shoulders down on the mat. Maybe we extend that leg. Maybe we have a strap here. Maybe it feels good to be here. Doing some circles at the ankle. Switching sides. Bringing the left knee back in. And bringing the left leg down to the mat. Let's bring both of our knees into our chest, hugging them in, compressing. You can stay here, or to get a little twisting movement in, maybe the arms drop down to a T and the knees come over to the right. Maybe the gaze goes to the left, or if that's too much, maybe we look above or over to the right. Breathing. Bringing the knees back to the chest and dropping the knees down to the left, arms to a T. Again, maybe the gaze goes to the right. Maybe you're looking toward the ceiling or the left. Bringing the knees back to center. Exhaling the legs down. Coming back to our back. Just tapping into the breath here. If you can breathe, you can do yoga. When you're ready, we'll just roll over to the right side here with our knees bent. We'll use the palm of that left hand and the right elbow to gently bring ourselves back up. Next, we're going to work through some sun salutations. So maybe you've been to a yoga class before where you've been cued to work through sun salutations on your own. It's pretty typical in a vinyasa class. So let's break that down a little bit and get used to what sun salutations feel like in the body and how we use those throughout yoga practice. Today, we're just going to work on a couple. We're going to work on a half A and then a sun salutation A. So there are many different variations. We're just going to focus on the two today just to kind of get used to what that feels like in the body. So when you're ready, we are going to stand up and we're going to meet at the top of the mat. So in a sun salutation, we're going to start in mountain pose. And in mountain pose or equidistant pose, our feet are below our hips. We have engaged legs. We're not dropping down in the shoulders or the pelvis. We are moving our shoulders back away from our ears. Our palms are facing forward. We're grounding in all four corners of the feet. So the ball joints of the big toes and the pinky toes and then the heels, everything is engaged in the feet. So we're rooting down. Our palms are open to receive. We're remembering to breathe. We're going to work through a half A. So starting in mountain pose, we're going to inhale the arms up. And for now, just leave the arms open, imagining you're holding a beach ball in between your hands. So arms are engaged, legs are engaged, we're rooting through our feet. On the exhale, we'll fold forward. For now, let's do the swan dive. So the arms are going to reach out. We're going to hinge at our hips and lead with our heart down to the mat. Now, most likely you're going to have a generous bend in the knees. They do not have to be straight. You just want to remember to hinge at the hips. So again, you're not collapsing down. You're hinging at the hips and keeping this in an active pose in good alignment. Inhale, halfway lift. So the spine gets long, the crown reaches forward. Maybe the hands come up to the shins. We're finding length here in the spine. On the exhale, we fold back in. On the inhale, we reach all the way back up, holding that beach ball, staying engaged. Exhale, arms down to the side, back in mountain pose. Let's work through that again. Inhale the arms up, reach up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, the arms up, reach up, get tall. Exhale, arms to the side, mountain pose. You've got it. Let's do it again. Inhale, the arms up, look up. Exhale, swan dive forward, hinge at the hips. Inhale, find length, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, the arms up, stay strong, get long. Exhale, arms to the side, mountain pose. So you've just done a half A sun salutation. Let's build on this a little bit by going into a sun salutation A. We're building on the same principles, so we want to stay in the same alignment. We're just going to add a little bit more movement now. Coming back, remembering to ground down in all four corners of the feet, the toes spread wide. We inhale the arms up. We exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale back to that halfway lift. The change here is that we're going to bring our hands to the mat and we're going to step gently back to a plank pose. Remembering to stay in good alignment, stay engaged. We're stacking our shoulders over our wrists and hands here. We're breathing, our core is active. Now, if this is not accessible to you, just drop your knees. Perfectly acceptable, and you're still getting that good workout as well. And please bear with me, I'm having a little bit of a technical difficulty. All right, awesome. So we're back in plank pose here. And we're gonna do knees, chest, chin. Probably in your yoga practice, if you've been to a yoga class before, you've heard the term chaturanga. So we're gonna break this down a little bit. We're gonna do knees, chest, chin throughout the sequence just to remain in safe alignment and focus on the foundations. So in knees, chest, chin, we drop our knees, our toes point. We drop our chest, we drop our chin. Our hips are still up at this point. We exhale down, our forehead kisses the mat, toes stay pointed. We inhale up to a baby cobra. So this is a baby back bend. Your feet are staying pressed against the floor. Your hands are strong against the mat. Just a very gentle back bend. You want to take the kink out of your neck, the gaze is forward. Exhale back down to the mat. We'll travel through tabletop pose at this point. So we're gonna push up through our arms and our knees. Our wrists and hands are gonna be beneath the shoulders, the knees beneath the hips. So imagine a teacup in between your shoulder blades and on your low back. You want those to be able to rest there without spilling over, like a table. So if you have the tendency to collapse in the low back, which a lot of us do, you wanna push away with your hands against the mat and stay in that nice, strong pose. We'll exhale, we'll tuck our toes, and then we're gonna reach our hips up. We're gonna move back into downward facing dog. I encourage you to keep a nice, generous bend in the knees here. Imagining someone is taking you by the tail and just pulling your hips up. Your heels do not need to touch the mat. Focusing on the long spine, your fingertips are spread wide. You've got equal balance in all four limbs. And you remember to breathe. We inhale, the gaze goes up between our hands, and we very slowly and gently walk up, taking as many steps as we need. We inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale the arms up, reach up, get long. Exhale, arms to the side, Tadasana. So let's do that again. We'll move a little bit quicker this time. We're gonna inhale the arms up, reach up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands come to the mat. We step back into our plank, or we drop our knees. We're gonna lower slowly, knees. The elbows are gonna hug in really tight close to the body here. So the knees drop, the chest and chin come down. We drop slowly, the forehead kisses the mat. Hands stay close in by the shoulders here. We're gonna inhale up into baby cobra. Exhale back down to the mat. Option here, we can move back through table pose. Tuck the toes, back to downward facing dog. Gaze comes forward between the hands. We walk our hands up to our feet. We inhale, halfway lift when we arrive, and then we exhale and fold back in. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, arms to the side. So in vinyasa, we connect the breath with the movement. So the more you do this, the more natural this will become. So let's move through this one more time. We're going to do a Shura A. Inhale the arms up, reach up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat, step back into your plank pose. Lower your knees. Hug the elbows in. Lower the chest and the chin. Inhale into your baby cobra. Exhale, travel back to downward facing dog, either through tabletop or simply by tucking the toes, coming back into your down dog. Long spine, sending the hips up. Maybe we pedal a little bit here and find some movement. Inhale, take the gaze up toward the top of the mat. Slowly walk up, meet your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale the arms up, reach up. Exhale, arms to the side, mountain pose. Breathe. Awesome job. So you just did a half A sun salutation and a full A sun salutation. This is going to be, again, a principal part of a vinyasa yoga flow. So let's tie this into a sequence. You'll see it different ways depending on what type of class you're taking. Hatha, vinyasa, sometimes it happens at the beginning because sun salutations are great to energize the body, get circulation going, also helps with the digestive system. Sometimes you'll see them kind of woven in throughout the sequence. So just kind of depends on what style you're taking, but you will likely see these in a vinyasa type yoga. So let's work through a sequence together. Let's find our breath again. We're going to come to the top of our mat. Breathing, finding equal weight in all four corners of the toes. Pulling the pelvis up. Removing our shoulders away from our ears, keeping the shoulders active and engaged. We don't want to dump in the low lumbar there. Inhale the arms up, reach up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, arms to the side, Tadasana, mountain pose. So sometimes you'll see in sequencing, we move a lot from downward facing dog. For this sequence, we're gonna move from the top of our mat, just so we're focusing on good alignment and focusing on the foundations, getting that all square here. So we're standing in Tadasana. We're gonna take this left leg back. We're gonna take it to fairly wide stance, about hip width distance apart. The front foot is gonna be facing the top edge of the mat. This back foot is gonna be dialed in about 45 degrees. We're gonna get tall. We're gonna energetically take our hips forward. That looks different for everybody. So if your hips are not perfectly square, that's okay. Do what feels good. Certainly while you're going throughout this practice and any yoga practice, you wanna maintain good alignment. We wanna prevent injury. So if anything feels bad or uncomfortable, come out of the pose. It's supposed to feel good for the body. So in this warrior one, we're gonna take a generous bend here in our front knee. We wanna make sure that the knee is stacked over the ankle. So we don't wanna collapse in this pose. We wanna maintain good alignment and protect our joints. As the hips come energetically forward, we're gonna raise the arms. So this is warrior one pose. We're staying active in that back foot, grounding through that pinky side of the foot. We're going to exhale and take this into warrior two. So the arms are going to come down to a T. We're going to maintain that good alignment. The knee is going to be over the ankle. Back leg is still engaged. We're going to take our gaze, if we can, down that middle finger of the front hand. We're not going to collapse into this pose, which is easy to do. We're going to maintain good alignment. And breathe. Let's cartwheel our hands down to the mat. So we'll take this hand down as we bring the left hand up. We'll take the left foot up onto the ball of the foot, bring it up, inhale up, exhale, arms to the side. And now we'll do the other side. So front foot is facing the front side of the mat. We're going to bring that back foot, dial in at about 45 degrees. Hips are pretty square, energetically square, whatever that looks like in your body. Generous bend in the front knee. Arms rise. Staying active in both legs, grounding down, rooting down. Exhale into warrior two. Keeping that good alignment, making sure that we can see that big toe. Then we'll cartwheel our hands back down to the mat. Right foot comes up to meet left. Inhale up, reach up. Exhale, arms to the side. So those are your warrior one and warrior two. You'll see those a lot in most vinyasa practices. We're going to build on that a little bit now. So we're in Tadasana, we're in mountain pose. We're going to step back into our warrior one. So remember, this back foot comes back about 45 degrees, bend in the front knee, hips energetically moving forward, arms rise. We exhale back to that warrior two, which you've already done. We're going to come to extended side angle pose. So this front arm is going to come down. The forearm is going to come down to the thigh. The other arm is going to swing up and over our ear. Committing to that bend in the front knee, we're going to stay strong in this pose. Long energetic lines from the tips of our foot all the way up to the tips of our fingers. And now we're going to reverse our warrior. So this hand is going to come down. This right arm is going to swing up. We're going to keep that bend in our knee. We're just going to find a really yummy side stretch here. Maybe the gaze comes up wherever you're comfortable. Exhale the arms back down to the mat. The left foot will come up to meet the right. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, arms to the side. And let's do the other side. We're going to step back with this right foot. We're going to find our warrior one. Exhale into warrior two. Inhale onto our extended side angle pose. Maybe the heart reaches open a little bit if that's accessible for you. We'll exhale and just reverse our warrior here. So looking for that nice side stretch in the body. Inhale, exhale, hands back down to the mat. Right foot will come up to meet the left. We'll inhale the arms up. Exhale, arms to the side. Great job. We'll move forward now into some lunges. So you'll see a lot of lunges as well in many yoga sequences. So let's start here. We're going to come down into our forward fold. We're going to take the left foot back. The knee will meet the mat. The toes will point. We're going to find stabilization here. So we're not on a tightrope. We're on two skis. So we want the hips to be equal and balanced. We don't want to dump in the low back. We want to have good alignment here, engaging our shoulders. The arms will rise here. We're breathing, being sure that the knee is stacked over our ankle. Option here, if you are comfortable, to come up on that left ball of the foot, turn this into a high lunge, crescent lunge. Or stay here if this feels good. If you're in that high lunge, let's move back down to the low lunge. Let's bring our hands to heart center in a prayer position. And let's twist over to the left, opening up, finding some opening in that hip flexor over here. Again, this is a really good pose for runners. It's great for the psoas muscle, opens up our hips, finding space. We're going to inhale back, our hands back into prayer position at the chest, finding our low lunge again. We're going to bring our hands to the mat. The left foot will meet the right. We'll inhale the arms up. Exhale the arms down. And we'll find our low lunge on the other side. So the right foot will come back, the knee will plant against the mat. The toes will point. We've got good alignment here in this front leg. We're reaching up, maintaining integrity of the spine. Want our spine to be nice and long, engaged. Breathing. Maybe we come back on the ball of that back foot and straighten that leg for a high lunge. If we're in that high lunge, we're going to come down to a low lunge. Point the toes. Exhale the arms down to prayer position, and we'll just twist open to the right. Finding spaciousness in our spine, opening that hip. If this doesn't feel good, just stay in your low lunge. Coming back to our low lunge, hands to the mat, right foot will come up, meet the left foot, inhale the arms up, exhale arms to the side. We're gonna find chair position now. So in chair position, we're basically sitting back in a chair, knees come to about 90 degrees. If you have an actual chair or a wall you'd like to hold on to, that can help with alignment. We're gonna inhale the arms up, feeling that deep quad stretch. This is also called fierce pose. Rooting through all corners of the feet, keeping the quads engaged. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, arms to the side. We're going to explore chair pose a little bit more now. So let's come back to our chair pose. And we're going to twist open just like we did in the lunges. So we're going to take our hands to prayer position, twist open to the left. Again, if this doesn't feel good, stay in chair. Inhale the arms back up to chair. Exhale, twist open to the right. Breathing. Inhale back to chair. Exhale, slowly rise. Arms to the side, mountain pose. Good, so you should be feeling a little bit of heat right now. I know I am. Now that we've worked a little bit through some of the sun salutations and other poses, let's do a balance pose together. I'm gonna face you just so you can see me. We're gonna explore a little bit of tree pose. So let's come back to our breath. We're gonna stand in our mountain pose. Breathing in. Inhale deep. Open mouth, exhale. Great. So for tree pose, let's shift all of our weight into our left foot. Arms are going to come to prayer position in the center. Maybe starting out, if you've never explored tree before, I invite you to bring the foot up like so, maintaining the integrity and pulling that hip a little bit here. We're really looking for that hip opening in tree. Maybe your foot comes to the calf. Or maybe if you've practiced tree before, or if you just want to have a little bit of fun, stand next to a wall and bring that foot up into the thigh. Really, the only place you don't want your foot to be is over that knee joint. Finding your balance, finding your drishti or your yogic gaze, which is a fixed object in the room that doesn't move, that helps us concentrate and balance. Option here to bring your branches up of your tree. And bringing hands back to heart center. Very slowly coming out of the pose. We'll take our hip back to 90 degrees. Place it back down on the mat. Find some organic movement. We'll do the other side. So we'll bring that left knee up to 90 degrees if you're bringing it to your thigh, or maybe your tree looks like this today. Maybe it'll look different tomorrow. Option to stay here, option to explore your tree. Maybe we bring our branches up. And exhaling back down into mountain pose. Great job. Let's come into child's pose. So if you're not already facing the front of your mat, we'll come down to the knees. Our big toes will kiss, our knees will fall wide, we'll melt down into the mat. This is a great pose to come into at any time throughout a sequence. If you feel like you're needing a rest, or if this just feels good, I invite you to come into child's pose whenever that feels right for you. Take some more breaths here, settling in. Great. When you're ready, we're going to come back into our table pose. We're just going to bring our legs around, swing them around here, nice and long. We're going to find our way back to our backs. We're going to have some fun now with bridge pose. So if you're familiar with bridge pose, feel free to do your thing. If you've never done bridge pose before, let's explore it a little bit. We'll bring our feet to the mat. Legs are about hips width a distance apart. We want to bring our heels in close. So if you can graze the back of your heels with your fingertips, that's a good alignment tip. Finding the breath. You're welcome here if you have a book or a block to place it under your sacrum, called supported bridge. It feels wonderful. So if you have that handy, that may be what you're feeling today. Otherwise, we're going to root through all four corners of our feet. We're going to keep our arms down this first time. So we're just going to plant in with our feet and our hands. We're going to slowly raise the hips. The knees are naturally going to want to go out to the sides. Try to zip them back into midline, back together if you can. When you're ready, we'll slowly come back down, one vertebra at a time, to our backs. We'll heel toe our feet out to the edges of the mat. We'll drop our knees in for constructive rest. And this is what we call a counter pose. So when we do something like a back bend, which is what a bridge is, it feels really nice to have a counter pose just to reset the body and settle back in. Still breathing here. Let's heel toe our feet back about hip width distance apart, easy for me to say. And we're gonna find our bridge again. We're gonna push through root through the feet and the arms. Stay here if this feels good. Or if you want to tuck the shoulder blades under and let each hand find the other. This feels really good too. We're staying strong in our shoulders. We're not collapsing in our neck. This is a great pose. A back bend is very, very beneficial for the body. We'll exhale, slowly roll down. One more time, we'll find our bridge, but first we're going to find our constructive rest. So we'll heel toe our feet out to the edges of the mat. We'll let the knees fall in comfortably. When you're ready, we'll heel toe back in, hips width distance apart. Planting the feet down and the arms down. We're going to raise the hips. Inhaling. Exhaling. Maybe the hips can come a little bit higher. We'll exhale down one vertebra at a time. And let's take a long stretch, good morning stretch. Arms above head, legs extended, just really stretching from the tips of your toes to the tips of your feet. Inhale the knees back into the chest. Maybe you want to add a little bit of rocking here. It feels good on the low back, like a little massage. We're going to cross the right leg over the left. So we're kind of making a number 4. It's called a figure 4. It's a great hip opener. We're just kind of cooling down now. You've done a lot of work with your hips and back, so we're just kind of giving our body a cool down and some love here. The hands will find the back of the thigh, and we'll just very gently pull that leg into the chest, feeling that nice, deep hip stretch. This left foot is still flexed. You want to protect the knee. Option to extend that left leg high if that feels good. And if it doesn't feel good, just stay where you were. Exhale that foot slowly back down to the mat. Unwind. We'll find the other side. So the left ankle is going to come over that right thigh, opening up that left hip. Our hands are going to find the back of our thigh, very gently pulling that right leg in. Feet stay flexed. Breathing. Our hips are called our emotional junk drawers. So don't be surprised if you feel a little bit of emotion or feelings pop up when you explore hip stretches. It's perfectly normal. Maybe the right leg extends up. If you did that on the other side, maybe it feels good to stay here. Wherever you are, slowly exhale the right foot back down to the mat. Unwind. Knees back into the chest, finding some rocking. We'll set ourselves up for final Shavasana. So Shavasana, you can be in corpse pose where everything is open. Your palms are normally facing up. They can be facing down if that feels better. We're surrendering here into our mat. Shavasana is like the delicious dessert at the end of a yoga sequence. So it's time to integrate our practice and really just settle back in and allow some time to come back into our bodies, come back into the present moment. Some people like to have legs up a wall, which you find a wall and you are in this position up against the wall. Some people put sandbags on their feet just to kind of help root down and ground down. Some people like to put blankets or bolsters under their low back or knees. So whatever feels delicious in your body, I invite you to find that now. Coming back to the breath, not forcing anything, just noticing. Let's move through a body scan. So maybe your eyes softly close now. Start at the top of the head. Relax your head down into your mat. Relax the forehead, unfurrowing your brow. Relaxing the bridge of the nose. Unhinge your jaw and gently move it to the right and the left. Remove the tongue from the soft palate. Let it rest gently in the back of the mouth. Relax the shoulders. Relax the arms, the wrists, hands. Relax the chest. Relax your belly. Let your hips sink in to your mat, hollowing out that pelvic bowl, letting everything be really heavy. Relaxing the thighs, the knees, the calves, the ankles, and the tips of the toes. Let them fall wide. And if your mind begins to wander, which it so naturally does, that's okay. Gently bring yourself back into the present moment, noticing the sounds inside the room you're in, the sounds outside of the room you're in, maybe. And coming back to that body scan that we just did, starting from the tip of your head all the way down to the tips of the toes, surrendering into the mat. Very slowly begin to make micro movements in the body. And by that, I mean moving your fingers and toes very gently and mindful. Moving the wrists and the ankles. Coming back into the breath, letting it deepen. We'll take a breath together here. Deep inhale. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. We'll very gently move our hips over to the left just slightly so we can gently roll over to the right side into a fetal position or a seed position. And we'll use the palm of that left hand and the right elbow to support ourselves as we rise up and make ourselves, meet ourselves back into easy seat. Hands at prayer position. Honoring yourself for showing up on your mat today, checking in, showing yourself some self-love and some self-care. Thank you for practicing with me today. The light within me honors and sees the light within all of you. Namaste. And we look forward to seeing you in person at the Dome very, very soon. Take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you next time.